Hey guys, Matt here and welcome to the next Game Gengo vocabulary episode, where we go through a game in Japanese breaking down all of the language that we come across, the vocabulary, the grammar, so that you can understand absolutely everything no matter what level you are. Today in this video we're going to be checking out Yakuza 7 or Like a Dragon Gaiden. This is a game for the PlayStation 4, 5, PC and even Xbox, and it's kind of a spin-off side story from Yakuza 7 or Like a Dragon. In this video we're going to be checking out 51 pieces of N5 vocabulary, 27 N4, 31 N3, 6 N2, 11 N1, and 81 additional pieces of language outside of the JLPT, with a total of 207 pieces of vocabulary covered, with 51 of those pieces of vocab being completely brand new even if you've watched every video in this playlist. Now as always, just before we get started, I just want to give a very brief review of what this game is like for a Japanese language learner. This game is definitely a much more difficult game for learners of Japanese to use, because of the fact that most of the game is kind of like a movie. The large portion of the game has cutscenes you can't take at your own pace. There are actually technically two different types of cutscenes. One of them seems to be like a pre-rendered cutscene that you can view again in your gallery once you've seen it before. And these cutscenes you can pause and you can still see the text. However, there seems to be another type of cutscene, maybe perhaps an in-game cutscene. And in those cutscenes, when you press pause, the text isn't visible, which makes it really annoying to use. Pretty much unusable for a language learner. That being said though, I did actually use Kamui OCR with this episode and it was close to 100% accurate with all of the text that it was able to pick up. And because Kamui OCR is automatic, you don't have to press any capture buttons, it almost perfectly captures all of the text that you can look at later. So that's not necessarily a game feature, but that is one way you might get around if you wanted to play this game yourself in Japanese. Definitely a tricky one though for learners. But a lot of the game does still have non-voiced interactions with characters, where that is actually pushed to continue, just there's no voice acting. In terms of tier placement, I would have to give this like a D, or maybe even a C. Can it have a C if there's cutscenes that you can't use? Not really. This would probably be a D on my tier list. If you really wanted to learn Japanese with it, you could, but it's not really good enough to get a passing score. But if you use something like OCR, it's definitely much more approachable. So without further ado, let's jump right into Yakuza 7 or Like a Dragon Gaiden in Japanese. Okay, so starting off we see this young lady coming out what looks to be a nightclub, and as she leaves she turns to whoever's inside and she says, "Ja, watashi wa kore de." And so first, if we have a look at the language that's actually before what she said, this is actually kind of like her name, or at least how she's currently being identified, and we can see it says Gorejo. As we can see, this is a new piece of vocabulary that means a young woman. And this is actually honorific language, so this isn't the normal way you would say a young woman. This is in honorific speech, and we can definitely see that because it has the go prefix before it. This marks that it's spoken in honorific speech. And it's put before rejo, here for a young lady. So gorejo just means a young lady. Also with this nuance of someone of high status's daughter. And she says, ja, so well then, or so. Watashi wa, so as for me, so she's giving information about herself, and then kore de. Literally, kore is this, and then de is with, so with this. So well then, with this. And what she's actually implying here is kind of like, with this, as of this point, we'll kind of separate. Goodbye. So literally it'd be like, with the point that we're at right now, let's end. But here she's just using it to say, well then, I'm off. And as she bows, she says, sumimasen. So this just means, excuse me, I'm sorry. So she's apologizing for something. Sumimasen. Osaki ni shitsurei shimasu ne. So osaki ni, saki means ahead, and then o is again this honorific prefix. So she's speaking a bit more formally, osaki ni, ahead, and then shitsurei shimasu is another way of saying excuse me, pardon me. Literally, shitsurei is to be rude or impolite, and then shimasu, polite speech saying she will do. So she's going to do something rude or be impolite. But here, this is just all connected to this whole phrase. osaki ni shitsurei shimasu. A polite way of expressing leaving somewhere first. So perhaps there's other people at work and she's expressing a leaving before everyone else. As we can see in the definition, pardon me for leaving first. Particularly used when leaving a workplace while other people remain there. A pretty common expression, particularly in real life, in polite speech. And then she finishes off with a ne, and this is kind of like a soft confirmation particle. Like, I'm sorry, I'm gonna be heading off first, okay?
すみません。お先に失礼しますね。
Okay, we seem to have some shady looking characters here sitting on a car and they say, Yo, miro yo, are. So this yo is like, hey, it's kind of calling attention to this girl. Yo, miro yo. And miro is the imperative form of miru, to see or to look. So he's giving an order, look. And then he has the yo particle at the end, and this is just being a bit more pushy. So, hey, look, miro yo, are. That over there. So, hey, look, over there. And again, this time we have a little bit of information about the speaker because we don't know their name, so this is kind of an identifier. And here we can see he's being referred to as a Kimpatsu no Yakara. So Kimpatsu here is another new piece of language, and this means blonde hair, or actually literally golden hair because the kin is representing gold. And then this next kanji is the kanji for hair, so golden haired. And it's Kimpatsu no Yakara. And we can see this is often used to kind of like this type of person, this group of person. This does have a little bit of a derogatory kind of informal feel to it, kind of like guy or dude. So the golden haired guy.
よ見ろよあれ 大丈夫か
Next, this guy approaches her, and here we can see his name is Kiryu. This is actually the name of the initial main character of the Yakuza series, so this is kind of the old main character, Kiryu. And he says, Daijoubu ka? So, daijoubu just means to be alright, and then ka, a question. So, are you alright?
大丈夫か
お待たせしてしまって。
And then the lady replies, so yeah, omatase shite shimatte. So we see that op prefix again, so we know that she's speaking in kind of formal honorific speech, and it's put before mataseru, to keep someone waiting. Literally, this is the causative form of matsu, to wait, to make someone wait, so to keep someone waiting. And here we can see it's put in the te form, so omatase shite, and then finally with shimatte. And this last part here is te shimao, to do something completely or regretfully. So she almost has like a kind of apologetic tone here. She's like, yeah, sorry to have kept you waiting.
お待たせしてしまって。
今店を出た
And then Kiryu talks into his earpiece. Ima mise o deta. And so ima, the N5 piece of vocab for now, mise, a shop or a store, or deta. And so the op particle, the direct object marker, is marking what you deta, what you left. So here he's saying, just right now, left the store. Here referring to the fact that the girl just left the bar.
今店を出た車はまだか
Kuruma wa mada ka? So kuruma, another N5 piece of vocab, this meaning a car. Kuruma wa, so as for the car, so he's asking information about it. Mada ka, mada, still, and then ka, the question particle. So is the car still not here yet?
車はまだか急な追いつけだったもんでな
And so now we have the person that he's talking to, and we can see it says untenshu. Now untensuru is to drive something, and then shu is the doer. So a driver. As we can see, a new piece of language at the end, for. And so first he says kyuna. Q is all of a sudden, and here it's a na adjective, so it's modifying oitsuke, here being the word for an order or a command. The iu comes from to say, and then ske is almost to apply or to attach. So here it's like to attach something to be said, or to give something that is said, to give an order, a command. So oitsuke datta, it was, and then he finishes off with mon de na. Now this mon or mono is often used to express how something is, like how the situation is. As we can see here, used in the conjunction mon de or mono de. So it's a conjunctive particle that indicates some sort of cause or reason. So he's giving a reason why the car's not ready yet. And then he finishes off with na, which is a bit more of a masculine ne. So it's because it was an order all of a sudden. So it's because you asked for the car too suddenly.
急な追いつけだったもんでなお嬢様の具合は
And here the driver asks about the young woman because he says, Ojo-sama no guai wa? So Ojo-sama. Again, we see this honorific prefix, the o, but this time it's attached to Jo-sama. This again is a bit more of a formal way here to refer to a young lady. As we can see here in definition number 2, a young lady of pampered upbringing. A woman who has never known hardship. a young lady. So the way he refers to her as Ojo-sama, it gives a kind of impression that she's someone important. Perhaps she's a daughter of someone important. And then it's Ojo-sama no guai. So the no here is a possessive particle, so it's connecting the two nouns. So the young lady's guai, this means condition or state, how she is, her health. And then wa as for. So we can see that he's inquiring information about her health. As for her health, as for her condition, how is she?
お嬢様の具合は
問題ない。そっちがすぐに来れば。
Mondai nai. So mondai is a problem, nai to not exist, so there's no problem. Sochi is usually used to refer to over there. As we can see, this is the first time we've come across this, but this is just the same as sochida, over there. Generally used to refer to something away from the speaker but close to the listener. But here, this is actually used to refer to that person, the driver. So sochi ga or sochida ga. So you, and then ga is the subject marker, so the doer of the sentence, who's going to be doing something or being a certain way. Suguni, immediately, right away, kureba. And this is the ba form, which is kind of like a hypothetical, conditional form of kuru, to come. So if you come. So yeah, there'll be no problem if you get here soon.
問題ない。そっちがすぐに来れば。
了解あと5分くれ
And then the driver says, ryokai. Ato 5分くれ. So ryokai is like understood, got it. Ato often means after, but here it's actually definition number 4, meaning more, usually used together with something like time. And we can see that's the very next thing here because we have 5分, this being 5 minutes. So after 5 more minutes, or just 5 more minutes. So go is 5 and then fun is a minute. So 5 minutes, 5分. And then kure is actually the same as kureru, to receive. But this is kind of like give me. So got it, give me 5 more minutes. 了解, あと5分くれ.
了解あと5分くれ
少し車を待つ。
And then Kiryu says, 少し車を待つ. So 少し just means a little bit, kuruma, the car, and then the ot particle, so we're doing something to the car, matsu, to wait. So we're waiting for the car, just for a little bit. So 少し車を待つ. We're going to wait for the car for a bit.
少し車を待つ。
ごめんなさい。やっぱり気分が。
Oh no, she doesn't seem too well, so she says, ごめんなさい. So ごめんなさい is just apologizing. I'm sorry, my apologies. Yappari, the N4 piece of language to express as expected, as I thought, or even after all. And then 気分が dun dun dun. Now 気分 is for feeling or a kind of mood, here talking about her actual physical health. And then 気分が, so her health is a certain way, dun dun dun, perhaps not very well. So I'm sorry, after all, I'm not feeling too...
ごめんなさい。やっぱり気分が。時間がかかりそうならタクシーを。
And then she suggests 時間がかかりそうならタクシーを. So 時間 is time, 時間が so time is what? かかりそう kakaru is to take, often paired with time, so 時間がかかる is for something to take time, but here it's かかりそう, so it appears to かかりそうなら. And this is if it's the case, so a hypothetical situation. So if it's the case that it's going to take some time, takushi o. So we're seeing a whole bunch of incomplete sentences. This is really interesting. Almost every sentence kind of just ends on a particle, and you're kind of supposed to just guess what the context is, what the situation is based on that. So here, takushi is just the word for a taxi, and then takushi o. So we're doing something to the taxi. And we can just guess based on situation that the following verb that's kind of just being cut off is likely to call, yobu, right? To call a taxi. Just like the previous sentence where she ended with ga, perhaps kibun ga warui, for example. I'm not feeling very well. My feeling is bad. This is super common in Japanese where sometimes a sentence just kind of left hanging and you just kind of understand based on the context. So here, if it seems like it's going to take some time, then should we call a taxi?
時間がかかりそうならタクシーを。
わかった。通りまで行ってみよう。
And so Kiryu agrees and he says, わかった. So わかった is the past tense form of わかる, to understand. So yeah, I got it. Okay, 通りまで. Now, 通り here is for a street. And this is generally some sort of like lively street with people, cars, sometimes even shops. A similar word, doro, that's just like a road, like the kind of physical road where cars drive on, for example. But here he says tori, so it's more like getting to the street, the place where all the people are, where the cars are, the shops and everything. Right now, they're kind of in a kind of side alley type place, so it's kind of like to get to the main street or just to get to the street. This is often read as dori when following an actual street name. like Ginza Street, Ginza Dori. But here just used by itself, it's read as Tori. Tori made, so up until the street, itemiyo. So iku is to go, here in the te form, ite, and then te miru is to try doing something. So let's try going, and then it's in the volitional form, yo. So let's. So I got it. Let's go to the street. Wakatta. Tori made itemiyo.
わかった。通りまで行ってみよう。
飲みすぎちゃったみたいで。
Ah, yes, it was definitely a bar because here she says, nomi sugi chatta mitai de. So, nomu is to drink, nomi sugi, that means to drink too much. Sugiru, when used with the must stem of a verb, means to do that verb too much. So, nomi sugiru, or here, nomi sugi, to drink too much. And then again, here it's with the teshimao, to do something regretfully or completely, but it's kind of contracted. Instead of teshimatta, it's just chatta. So, nomi sugi chatta, I drank too much. And then mitai de. Mitai, it seems to be the case. And then de is kind of leaving the sentence hanging like a comma. She's not quite finished the sentence. So it seems like I drunk too much.
飲みすぎちゃったみたいで。祖父には内緒にしてくれます。
Ah, and this must be the important person that she's related to because she says sofu ni wa. This is the first time we've seen this word here, sofu. This is at the end for, and this means a grandfather. As we can see, this kanji combination can be read in many different ways, like sofu, jiji, ji, oji, oji, or even an old speech, sobu. But here it's read in one of the most common ways, sofu. So grandfather, and then niwa, literally as for to. So as for to my grandfather, naisho ni shite kuremasu ka? Now naisho here is another new piece of language, and this means a secret. So naisho ni shite kureru, ni suru means to do or to treat something as, and then te kureru, or here te kuremasu, is saying, can you do it for me? So could you keep a secret for me? And then who from are we keeping it a secret? We can see marked by the neat particle, sofu ni wa.
祖父には内緒にしてくれます。
余計なことは言わない。
Okay, Kiryu seems to be able to hold a secret because he says, yoke na koto wa iwanai. So, yoke is an N2 piece of language to be too much. Here, though, it's more like definition number 2, more than is needed. So, uninvited, unnecessary. Yoke na koto. Koto is a thing, so things that are unneeded. And then koto wa as for. So, as for unnecessary things, iwanai, I won't say. So, I won't say anything that isn't needed.
余計なことは言わない。
ねえ大丈夫
Ah, it seems the punks are following us. One of them calls out, Ne, daijoubu. So Ne's, hey, calling out to the girl. Daijoubu, are you okay? So hey, are you alright?
ねえ大丈夫よかったら俺らが女の子を食ってくよ
And he continues on with, yokattara. So literally, yoi is good, and here in the tara form, the hypothetical. So if it's okay, if you like, yokattara. Orera ga. So orera here, the masculine pronoun for us. Ore is generally just used for one person, but we have the ra. This is the pluralizing suffix, so it makes it us. Orera ga. So we're the ones going to do something. Onna no ko. This being the N5 piece of language for a woman or a girl. Literally, onna is like female, no ko, a child. So the young woman. Onna no ko okutte kuyo. And so okuru here is to send or to escort someone. Okutte ku is actually a contraction of okutte iku. So I will go on doing that action. So I will go and escort her, but it's just contracted as okutte ku. And then you're kind of calling out. So hey, if you like, I can escort her.
よかったら俺らが女の子を食ってくよ
いいんだ。間に合ってる。
And without looking back, he says, Inda, maniatteru. So, I meaning good. This is the same as yoi. Inda, this nda is explaining the case. It is that. So, it is that, it's okay. So, he's explaining, no, it's fine. I don't need your help. So, inda, it's fine. Maniatteru. And maniao is an N4 piece of language to be in time for something. Or even to manage or to make do. So, it's fine, I can manage.
いいんだ。間に合ってる。
うちすぐそこなんだタワマンの30階
Okay, and the punk's not giving up. He says, uchi, this means us. Here we can see it can be used to refer to us, like our company or our organization. But here he's kind of talking about his home or one's family. Sugu soko. Sugu is like immediately, and then soko there. So it's right there. So it's close by. And then nanda is the same as nanoda. He's explaining it's the case. So he's explaining it is the case that their place is just here. It's close by. And then he finishes off with tawaman no 30 Now, tawaman is actually a contraction of two words, tawa for a tower and mansion for a mansion, or in Japanese, an apartment. So it's a tower apartment. As we can see here in the definition, a high-rise apartment building, a high-rise condominium, a tower block. Tawaman no 30, that's 30, and then kai is for stories or floors. So it's a 30-floor apartment building.
うちすぐそこなんだ。タワマンの30階。おいでよ。みんなで解放してあげっからさ。
And he's trying to be a bit pushy as he continues on, oide yo. And so oide here we can see to either be to come or to go in honorific speech, or here just please come. And he has the yo again, so he's being quite pushy. So come on. Minna de. Minna, everyone, de, with. So with everyone, kaihou shite agekara. Now kaihou here is a new piece of language at the end one, and this means to nurse or to take care of someone. And it's kaihou shite agekara. So this is actually shite ageru. Te ageru is like to do for someone, like to give someone something. So to give someone nursing or to take care of them. But then the te ageru is kind of contracted with kara, explaining because. So since we will take care of her, used casually to imply reassurance. And then sa being a bit assertive. So hey, come on, we'll take care of you.
おいでよ。みんなで解放してあげっからさ。
おい、おさむくんが親切で言ってくれてんのに無視かよ。
Oh no, we're surrounded as this red-haired guy appears, and that's exactly what it has here on the information about his name. Akagami no yakara. So now we have aka for red, and then it's connected with kami, or here read as gami, so red hair. And then it's akagami no yakara. Again, we see here referring to a person, so like the red-headed guy or the red-haired dude. And he says, Osamu-kun ga shinsetsu de. So Osamu is actually the name of the blonde-haired guy. Here it's kind of connected in his nickname, Osamu-kun. Osamu-kun ga, so he's the one going to be doing something, shinsetsu de. And shinsetsu is to be kind or generous. And then de kind of marking how. So with generosity, ite kurete noni. So again, we see you to say, ite kureru, so to say for you, but here it's actually in the teiru form, so ite kureteiru, but the teiru is just contracted into So he's talking to you kindly, he's talking to you generously, ite kurete noni, this being despite. So despite he's talking to you in a nice way, mushi kayo. And mushi here is another new piece of language, and this means to ignore someone. This is actually pretty common here at the end 3. As we can see, the top 1,000 JPDB, top 2,000 anime and drama. Very, very common piece of language. So mushi here is to disregard or to ignore someone. And then he finishes off with kayo. And this is like a sentence that expresses some sort of doubt or even a rhetorical question. So kind of like as if. So hey, Osamu-kun is speaking to you nicely and yet you ignore him?
おい、おさむくんが親切で言ってくれてんのに無視かよ。
どうも、僕がおさむくんです。
Oh, there we go. There's some self-introductions. Domo, boku ga Osamu-kun desu. So domo can be like a short way of saying thanks or even hello. As we can see here all the way down in definition number 6. Greetings, hello. Domo, boku ga. So boku is a bit more of a humble pronoun. We actually just saw him using orera, so we see he used a bit more of a rougher masculine one. So here he's kind of purposely speaking a bit more humbly, right? He's trying to be polite in a kind of cocky, confident way. So boku ga, I'm the one that is, Osamu-kun desu. And so normally when you refer to yourself, you do not include the kun or san or sama, although sometimes some characters will, like ore-sama. But here, this is just kind of his nickname, Osamu-kun, and that's why he has it included when he's referring to himself. So boku ga Osamu-kun desu, and desu is stating to be. So I am Osamu-kun.
どうも、僕がおさむくんです。
どけ。
But Kiryu doesn't care at all. He just says doke. So here, this is the imperative form of doku, to step aside, to move aside, to get out of the way. But here he's telling him, he's ordering him in the imperative form, doke, get out of the way.
どけ。俺一人でよけりゃ、後で好きなだけ付き合ってやる。
And then Kiryu continues with Ore hitori de. So ore, the rough masculine way of referring to oneself. Ore hitori de. Hitori is one person, de with. So with me by myself. Yokeria. And this is actually a contraction of yokereba. This actually being very similar to the piece of language we just saw previously, yokattara. If you like, if it's okay. Here though, instead of the tara form, it's just the but form. So if it's okay, yokeria or yokereba. If it's okay, just me by myself. Ato de, afterwards, so later on. Skina dake, ski is to like, dake is only or just, so only or just as much as you like. Skina dake skiatte yaru. And skiao, here's an N2 piece of language to hang out with. It can even be to date. This is definitely not the situation here to date these guys. He just means that I'll accompany you, I'll follow along. I'll keep some company with you guys. And then te yaru is the rougher way of saying he'll do for them, or he'll do to them. So hey, if it's alright just me, I can hang out with you guys as much as you want later.
俺一人でよけりゃ、後で好きなだけ付き合ってやる。
何舐めた口聞いてんだ、おっさん。
Oh, he didn't seem to enjoy that invitation because he says nani. So nani is like what? And then it's connected to nani nameta kuchi. Nameru is to look down on someone or even to underestimate them. And here it's nameta kuchi. Kuchi here being a mouth. Or in definition number 5, the things that you're saying, your speech. So kind of talking down on us. And this is actually connected with the next verb, kiku. So kuchi o kiku is like to speak or to talk. Here, talking in a kind of underestimating or looking down on way, nameta kuchi kiitenda, and nda is explaining it is the case. So what? You're talking down to us? Osan. This means old man. This is apparently a new piece of language as well, but super common. So what the hell are you doing looking down on us, old man?
何舐めた口聞いてんだ、おっさん。
トラブル発生。
So he calls the driver and he says, Toraburu hasse. So toraburu, this is just katakana for trouble. Toraburu, pretty common even though it's an N1 piece of language, top 3,000 in almost everything. So toraburu hasse. And this is another new piece of language at the N1 and this means for something to occur. So here being used to express we got a bit of trouble. So a bit of trouble has occurred. Toraburu hasse.
トラブル発生。車はまだか。
And then again he asks about the car and he says, Kuruma wa madaka. So kuruma wa as for the car, mada still, and then ka a question. So is the car still not ready?
車はまだか。
到着まで3分。何があった？
And then the driver says, Tochaku made 3分. Nani ga atta? So tochaku is to arrive, tochaku made is until arriving, and then 3分, the word for 3 minutes. So interestingly, we can see this time the fun, the kanji for minute, is being read as pun. And some of the numbers have different ways of actually pronouncing it. Like ippun, nifun, sampun. The counters are different. The way you say it is a bit different. So just be a bit careful about that. So tochaku made until arriving 3分. It's 3 minutes. Nani, what? And then nani ga atta. Atta here is to have happened. So what happened? So I'm 3 minutes away from arriving. What happened?
到着まで3分。何があった？
後で話す。
Atode hanas. So atode we've seen again for later on. And then hanasu here is to talk. So I'll talk to you later. Atode hanasu.
後で話す。少し休んでるといい。
Okay, looks like we're gonna have a fight because as he kind of gets the girl to rest down, he says, Skoshi, just a little bit, yasunderu toi. So yasumu here is another N5 piece of language. This means to rest, to take a break. Here it's yasundeiru. So here the progressive form, so kind of being in the state of resting. And then toi, literally the to particle here is the conditional, so if, but it has a very strong conditional. If you rest a bit, it would be good. And this is often used to express that you should do something. Something toi, you should do it. So you should rest for a bit. Literally, it would be good if you stay here resting for a bit.
少し休んでるといい。
大丈夫なんですか？
Oh, she seems a bit worried because she says, ano. So, daijoubu nan desu ka? So, daijoubu we saw previously to be all right. And then nandes is the same as nanda, to be the case. But here it's in the question with the ka particle, nan desu ka? So, is it the case that you're all right? So, are you going to be all right?
大丈夫なんですか？
俺らは こんな時のために呼ばれてる。
Very cool and calm, he says, Orera wa. So we saw orera already for us, wa as for, so as for us. Konna toki, konna like this, and then toki the time. So times like this, konna toki no tame ni. This being for the sake or the purpose. So for the sake of times like this, konna toki no tame ni yobareteru. And here we can see this is the progressive form of yobareru, to be called. So as for us, we are called for this very purpose. We're called for times like this.
俺らはこんな時のために呼ばれてる。
どっかいいとこのお嬢様なのかな?
And the punk inquires a bit and he says, Dokka. This is the same as doko ka, but it's just in a bit more of a slangy way. This meaning somewhere. So dokka, I toko. I we've seen many times being good, and then toko is actually short for tokoro, a place. So a good place. As we can see here, good thing, good family, some sort of even prestigious school. So from a good place, I toko no ojo-sama. So a young lady from a good place. And then nano kana. So nano is seeking information. Is it the case that? And then kana, I wonder. Or is it the case? So I wonder, are you a young lady from some good place, some good family?
どっかいいとこのお嬢様なのかな? 大丈夫。うちの親もね、聞いたら絶対知ってる会社の社長。
And he keeps trying to convince, he says, 大丈夫, it's okay. うちの親もね. So うち, our, no, oya, this being a parent, mo also, and then ne, you know. So it's okay. My parent, you know. Kitara. Now kiku is to hear, again here in the tara form, so if you were to hear, referring to his father, if you were to hear about him or his name, zettai, definitely, shitteru. Now shiru is to know, here in the progressive form, shitteru, but contracted, shitteru. So you would know, and then kaisha no shacho. Kaisha is apparently a new piece of language. This is the N5 word for a company. Insanely common word in Japanese society. Yeah, top 200 Wikipedia, top 500 anime and J-drama. That makes sense. This is one of the symbolic words of Japan, really. The company, kaisha. Kaisha no shacho, this being the boss of the company, another super common word. Every company has a shacho, the company president or just like the boss. So it's okay, my father, you know. He's a company's president you definitely know of if you heard it.
大丈夫。うちの親もね、聞いたら絶対知ってる会社の社長。いいの。
いいの. So E to be good, no questioning. So, you sure it's okay?
いいの。俺らに手出したらただじゃ済まないよ。
And then he continues on with 俺らに, so to us. 手出したら. Now, te is for a hand. Dasu is to put out. So to put out a hand. And this is actually part of a saying, te o dashitara. As we can see here, to turn one's hand to reach out one's hand, to get involved with something, to make a move on, or even to strike or to hit. Another way to say in English would be to put your hands on. So if you put your hands on us, 俺らに手出したら, if you do it, if you put your hands on us, ただじゃ済まないよ. Now, tada is often used to be like free of charge. But we can see here in definition number 3, it means like unaffected, as it is, right? Without anything happening. Ja is a contraction of dewa, so as for to be free of charge without anything happening. And then sumanai. This is the negative form of sumu, to end or to finish up with something. So it won't end without anything happening. Tada ja sumanai yo. And this yo, he's being a bit pushy, but he's also kind of questioning. He's like, hey, if you put your hands on us, you're not going to get away with it.
俺らに手出したらただじゃ済まないよ。
お前らも今回り右すりゃ無事に帰れる。
Okay, Kiryu seems to not care. He says, お前らも. So, omae, you, ra, again, we see that pluralizing suffix, so you guys. Mo, also or even, so even you guys, or also you guys. Ima, right now, and then ima, maware migi surya. Now, mawaru is to turn around, migi is to the right, as we can see here, right about face. But this just means to kind of turn around. So you guys also, if you turn around right now, surya, if you do it, buji ni, safely, without any incident. Buji literally to be safe, and then buji ni, so it's modifying the verb and adverb, buji ni kaereru. You're able to go home. Here, the potential form of kaeru, to go home. So if you guys turn around now, you'll also be able to return safely.
お前らも今回り右すりゃ無事に帰れる。さもなきゃ。
さもなきゃ. So a lot of contracted speech already in this episode. So samonakya is actually short for samonakereba. So we've seen the but form often kind of contracted to rya, like kereba, into just kya, and the na here, so nakereba, nakya. This meaning otherwise or if not. And if we were to literally look at this expression, just samo is an N1 piece of language to mean in that way, and then nakereba if it's not. So if it's not in that way. So if that's not the case, if not, samonakya or samonakereba.
さもなきゃこれから起きることは全部お前らの選んだ結果だ
And there's his warning, kore kara. So kore, this, kara, from. So from this point on, from here on, okiru koto wa. Okiru is often used to get up or to awaken, but here it's more to happen. And then koto wa, as for the thing. So as for what occurs from here on out, zenbu, all of it, omaera no, so your, eranda kekka da. Now, erabu is an N4 piece of language to choose, but here in the past tense form, so you chose, and then kekka, the result. And then da stating to be. So if we put all of this together, if that's not the case, then as for the things that happen from here on, this is all the result that you guys chose. So here in a roundabout way saying, you guys are going to be in trouble if you don't leave.
これから起きることは全部お前らの選んだ結果だ
おさむくんこいつやる気だよ
Well, the redhead guy's a bit impressed. He says, Osamu-kun. So, hey, Osamu-kun. Koitsu, this guy, referring to Kiryu. And then, yaruki dayo. Literally, yaru is to do. Ki is like a feeling or an intention. As we can see here, the will to do something when put together. Yaruki. So, eager, enthusiastic. Da then stating to be. And then Yok kind of pushed that information. But he's a bit uncertain. He's like, hey, look. So, Osamu-kun, this guy's up for it.
おさむくんこいつやる気だよ
まあおじさんはお仕事でやってんだろうしな
Ma, well, Oji-san wa. So as for the old man, Oji-san here is another way of saying old man, as you can see in definition number 2. Oji-san wa, as for the old man, o shigoto de. So again, he's speaking honorific speech, this kind of weird mixture of casual speech and honorific speech. The o is the honorific prefix, shigoto is just being a job. So his work, it's used to refer to someone else's work. So here, Kiryu's work. O shigoto de yatten daro shina. And yatten is the same as yatteiru, doing, and then with his work, so he's working. Daro, right, I guess. She is then listing reasons or what's more, and then nah, huh. So it's like, well, the old man is working, huh?
まあおじさんはお仕事でやってんだろうしなそれにさ
Sore ni sa. So sore ni, in addition to, besides that, and then sa is like, hey. So in addition, hey.
それにさ恋ってのは障害があるほど燃えるもんだ
Okay, he's definitely a bit of a creep. Koi te no wa. So koi is actually a new piece of language. This means love, like romantic love. Super common word, top 800 anime and drama, 1500 JPDB. Very common word here, koi. And it's koi te no wa. This is the same as toyu no wa. And this is used when defining something. So he's defining what love is. Koi te no wa. What love is literally you could almost see it as like, as for the thing called love, shogai ga aru hodo. Shogai here being another new piece of language at the N3 for like an obstacle or a barrier. Shogai ga aru, so for there to be obstacles or barriers. And then hodo, the extent. So the extent or how much there are obstacles or barriers. So kind of like the more there are barriers, the more moeru monda. And moeru is like to burn or to get fired up. And then again, mon explaining the way something is, and then da stating. This is the same as monoda. So he's explaining how something is. And we can see he's defining love. So as for what love is, it's something that fires up even more when there are obstacles. So he's a bit of a creep, not taking no for an answer.
恋ってのは障害があるほど燃えるもんださあお嬢様にいいとこ見せちゃおうぜ
Okay, and the fight's about to begin and he says, Sa, so come on now. Ojo-sama ni, so to the young lady. I toko, a good thing, or even our strong points. Misechao ze. So miseru is to show, here in the teshimao form, so to completely do something, and then ze being kind of quite forceful. So let's show the young lady something good.
さあお嬢様にいいとこ見せちゃおうぜ
Okay, so as the battle begins, we have this text on screen and it says chimpira. And this is the word for a punk. A hoodlum, a delinquent. As you can see also, a small-time yakuza, or even definition number 3, a brat and other things as well. So chimpira, think of like a punk. Think of these guys when you think of the word chimpira. Okay, so I'm just gonna skip through the battle system, but it has a kind of cool battle system where, you know, it's kind of more of an action game. You fight, you do buttons, you do times, you block, you dodge, you do special attacks. There's a return to the original Yakuza style where it's more like an action game, whereas the more recent ones have been more like an RPG. Okay, so we beat up the punks. We're about to give a finishing blow to this redhead guy. And as we punch him, he flies in the air. Interesting enough, we can see they have Tokyo plates. So we are in Tokyo. And the yellowhead guy, he says, Yose, yose, yose! Ore no kuruma! So yose is like stop. So stop, 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 stop. Ore no my kuruma. Car. So my car! Yose, 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 yose! Ore no kuruma! Majikayo. Oh, majikayo. So, majikayo. So, maji to be serious, and then kayo as if. So, are you serious? Majikayo. Omae. When he tries to fight back a little bit, he says, Omae, you. Dare ni, so dare who, ni to, so to who, te dashita ka, so who you laid your hands on. You often see this ka particle used with question words to kind of give a set question. So who it is that you laid your hands on. Wakatten no ka, so wakatten is the same as wakatteiru, so to understand, and then no ka, a question. So do you know who you just put your hands on? Oh, we have a bit of review here. So here we go. This is the important key language for this episode. Tadaja sumanezo. If someone yells this to you on the streets, then maybe you're not doing the right thing. So as we see, tada, as it is, without any kind of problem. Ja, same as dewa. Ja, sumane, to not end. And then zo, being emphatic. So you're not going to get away with this. Okay, that's interesting response. So angai here is a new piece of language. It's pretty common here at the end too, top 2,000, 3,000. This means surprisingly or unexpectedly. Angai yasashi, this the N4 piece of language to be kind or caring. So he's calling him caring, and then nda, it is the case, na, ha. So you're surprisingly kind.
Angai yasashin-da-na.
はあ?
自分がこれからどんな目に遭うかより俺を心配してくれんのか
What a cool line. Jibunga. So jibun is oneself, ga, there's the subject marker. So oneself is the one that. Korekara, from here on out. Donna, what kind of? And then meni au, this be to experience something, to go through something, to suffer something. And again, we see that combination of a question with ka. So we saw dareka and now donna ka. So these are kind of set together. Donna meni au ka. So what kind of thing you're going to experience. So how you're going to suffer. Yori, more than. So more than what you're going to suffer from here on out. Ore o, doing to me. Shinpai shite kuren no ka. So shinpai suru is to worry about something. Shite kureru is to do for me. Here the contracted form of shinpai shite kureru. Shinpai shite kuren. And then again, no ka, a question. So you're unexpectedly kind, huh? More than how you're going to suffer from here on out. You're worried about me, huh? That's a very cool line here from Kiryu.
Huh?
自分がこれからどんな目に遭うかより俺を心配してくれんのか
いや、no
いや
ちょっと待ってください
Oh, we get interrupted by the girl and she says ちょっと待ってください So ちょっと just for a bit 待って to wait We already saw matsu So wait for a little bit ちょっと待って And then it's てください So please wait a bit ちょっと待ってください
ちょっと待ってください 思い出しました。あなた、マルヒナの社長の息子さんですよね。
We have some very nice lighting here. I love the purple glow. So she says, 思い出しました. So 思い出す is to remember something, omo is to think, dasu is to come out. So you remembered something, right? Something appeared, you remembered something. Here in the polite past, so 思い出しました. Anata, you. So here referring to the punk. So I remember you. Maruhina seems to be the name of someone. And Maruhina no shacho, so the company president Maruhina no musko-san. Now, musko by itself is just a word for a son, and then son, very similar sounding, a son, a child, a boy, and then son, again, that kind of polite thing to add to someone's name. So the son of the president of Maruhina, desu yone, des to be, yone, right? So, I remembered, you're the son of the company president of Maruhina, right?
思い出しました。あなた、マルヒナの社長の息子さんですよね。
マルヒナってあの有名な商社か。
And then Kiryu realizes and he says, Maruhina te. So te is now quoting Maruhina. So speaking of Maruhina, or as for Maruhina, ano, that, yume, here being the N5 piece of language for famous, and it's a na adjective, so yume na shosha. This being a new piece of language at the end too for a trading company. Not quite as common as all the other pieces of language that we've come across. I guess it's a pretty common word though if you're interested in business. Shosha. Sho represents business and then sha like the company. So Maruhina, that's that famous trading company, huh?
マルヒナってあの有名な商社か。
どうしてそれを？
どうしてそれを? So どうして why, それ that, and then o, the direct object marker. So again we see a sentence cut off. Perhaps it's どうしてそれを知ってる? To know. Why do you know that? So, Why do you know that?
どうしてそれを？
去年、祖父の誕生パーティーに来てくれましたよね。お父様と一緒に。
Well, first pretty large sentence here. So 去年, last year. The kyo is representing the former, and then nen, the year, so last year. Sofu we saw previously for grandfather. Sofu no tanjo, this being the word for birth, an incredibly insanely common word, top 700 in Wikipedia. You will often see this word as a part of the word for a birthday, tanjobi. So bi, hi, the day of birth, tanjobi. But here it's tanjo party, so a birthday party. Tanjo party ni, so to my grandfather's birthday party, kite kuremashita yo ne. So kite kureru to come for someone, and then mashita the past tense form in polite speech, yo ne, right? So you came to my grandfather's birthday party, right? And then she finishes off with otou-sama to ishoni. So again, this honorific prefix, the o particle, otou-sama. To-sama is an honorific way of referring to someone's father. This is kind of a double level up from to-san, to-san, to-sama, or to-sama. But generally when you have the o, you're referring to someone else's, not your own. So otou-sama to, with your father, ishoni, together. So together with your father. So together with your father, you came to my grandfather's birthday party last year, right?
去年、祖父の誕生パーティーに来てくれましたよね。お父様と一緒に。
え、もしかしてあなた荻窪幹事長のお孫さん？
え、huh? もしかして if by chance, あなた you, then we have the name of a person here, and oh my god, Japanese names are so difficult. Like even me, I've been studying for, god, how long has it been? 2011? Over 10 years now, and still Japanese names will forever be something that is impossible to always be able to read. And so here this name is Ogikubo, and it's Ogikubo Kanjicho, and then Kanjicho here being for a secretary general, the chief secretary. So a very important person. And it's Kanjicho no Omago-san, again the honorific or prefix, and then Mago is a grandchild. So this is an honorable way to refer to someone's grandchild, Omago-san. So you're the grandchild of Ogikubo, the secretary general?
え、もしかしてあなた荻窪幹事長のお孫さん？
That's right.
これはとんでもないこと。申し訳ございません。
Oh, what a huge change of character. これは as for this. とんでもないこと. Now, とんでもない is like unthinkable, outrageous. とんでもないこと, a thing that is unthinkable, a thing that is outrageous. and then o, the direct object marker. So I did something outrageous. I did something unthinkable. And then as he bows, he has a very deep apology here with "Moshiwake gozaimasen." This is a very formal, strong way of apologizing for something, way stronger than like "gomen nasai" or "sumimasen." Literally, mosu is to say, wake is an excuse, and then gozaimasen is an honorific way of saying that it doesn't exist. So there is no way I could say an excuse. It's inexcusable. So a very strong apology. So I've done something absolutely terrible. Please forgive me.
これはとんでもないことを申し訳ございません。
今夜は留学先の中東の友人が日本に遊びに来ていたので
Okay, so here she explains why she wasn't feeling very well. Konya wa, so kon this ya night. As for this night, konya wa. As for tonight, ryugaku saki. So ryugaku is a super important piece of vocabulary here. If you're interested in studying in Japan, this is the word to study abroad, ryugaku. So when you are an exchange student, you are a ryugakusei. Here though, we have the destination, saki. So the study abroad destination. So the destination of your study abroad, no chuto no yujin. So chuto here is another new piece of language, and this meaning the Middle East. Literally, chu being the kanji for middle and then to for east. So the Middle East, chuto no yujin. This being another way to say a friend. The more common way would just be tomodachi. But as we can see, this is a little bit more formal way of saying my friend. Yujin. So my Middle Eastern friend, chuto no yujin ga, so they're the ones that did something or are doing something, nihon ni, so nihon, Japan, ni to, so to Japan, and then asobi ni kiteita. So asobu is to play or to hang out, but here it's in the must stem, asobi, and then ni kuru is to come for the purpose of doing something. So to come here for the purpose of hanging out. And then node, explaining it is the case that. So as for tonight, my study abroad friend from the Middle East came to hang out in Japan.
今夜は留学先の中東の友人が日本に遊びに来ていたので初めて六本木に来てみたのですがあなたたちもよく遊びにいらっしゃるの?
Ah, yes, we're definitely in Tokyo because we see here, so hajimete for the first time, and then Roppongi, this is the night district in Japan. I've only actually been here once or maybe twice, I'm not sure, but it's a bit more of a filthier part of Tokyo. It's not recommended. You will be harassed by people. It's not very nice. It's a pretty seedy place. It's in fact the seediest place I've ever been in Japan, although I don't spend too much time in seedy places, but it's definitely up there in the most seediest places in Japan. So Roppongi ni, so to Roppongi, kite mita, so kuru to come, te mita, to try to do something. So I tried coming to Roppongi for the first time, and then no desu ga, so it is the case, however, anata tachi mo, so anata, you, tachi, a much more common neutral way of referring to the plural. So you guys, this is really common. This is even used in words like tomodachi, the dachi, tachi, friends. Here, you guys, anata tachi, mo also, so also you guys, yoku, often, and then again, asobi, to play, asobi ni, so for the purpose of hanging out, irasharu no, and this is a super useful piece of honorific speech right here, irasharu. It can sometimes be a bit confusing for learners because irasharu can be both to come, kuru, to go, iku, or even to be, iru. So here we see it's to come to hang out. So to come and hang out here in Roppongi. Asobi ni irasharu no? Do you come here often? So for me, this is my first time trying to go to Roppongi, however. Do you guys come here often?
初めて六本木に来てみたのですがあなたたちもよく遊びにいらっしゃるの?
いやいやいや、僕らもたまたまです。
Really? I don't believe him. He says, yeah. So, ya is no, and he says it 3 times. Yeah, no. Bokura mo, so us also, tamatama desu. And tamatama can be both by chance, by accident, or like here in definition number 2, occasionally, once in a while. So, no, that's not the case. We just come here every now and then.
いやいやいや、僕らもたまたまです。本当に何とお詫びをしてよいか。
And he's really freaking out as he says, hontoni. So hontoni, truly, really. Nanto is like what or how. and it's connected to the next word, owabi. So again, so much honorific practice here with the o. It's actually quite interesting. The Yakuza series is actually really good for honorific practice. Even though there's a lot of rough speech, you get a ton of this really important keigo practice. So owabi, this being an apology, owabi o shite. So to do an apology or to give an apology, and then shite yoi ka, yoi being good, and then ka, a question. With shite yoi meaning the same as shitara ii, would be good if. So really, how should I apologize?
本当に何とお詫びをしてよいか。
いえ、私もこんなに酔ってしまって。お互い今夜のことは忘れませんか?
Oh, she's very nice. So, yeah, no, watashi mo. So this is a bit more of a formal, but also just a neutral pronoun. So, me also. Konna ni like this, or in this way. Yotte shimatte. Now, yo is the verb to get drunk. So she was definitely drunk before. And again, we see it's te shimao, to regretfully do or to completely do. So yotte shimatte. So for me to also get completely drunk like this. And then another new piece of language, otagai, and this means each other, one another. So each of us, konya no koto wa. So as for the stuff that happened tonight, wasuremasen ka? So wasureru is to forget about something, and then here in polite speech in the negative, wasuremasen ka? Will you forget about it? So no, for me also to get this drunk, the stuff that happened for the both of us tonight, will you forget about it?
いえ、私もこんなに酔ってしまって。お互い今夜のことは忘れませんか?
もちろん。私は今夜何も見ていませんし、誰とも会ってません。
Mochiron, of course. Oh, and look at this. He's now used all 3 general pronouns in this episode. He's used ore when speaking masculine. He's used boku when speaking a little bit more humble. And here he uses watashi when speaking a bit more polite. So watashi wa, as for me, konya, tonight, nanimo, so nothing at all, often used with verbs in the negative form, and we can see miteimasen, this being the polite negative progressive form of miru, to look. So miteinai, and then in the polite form, miteimasen. So I haven't seen anything, and then shi, what's more, dare tomo attemasen. So dare to with someone, more even, and then attemasen, I didn't meet. So not only have I not seen anything tonight, I didn't even meet with anyone.
もちろん。私は今夜何も見ていませんし、誰とも会ってません。私どものことも幹事長にはご内密にしていただけますか?
Did he just use 4 personal pronouns in this video? Oh my god. So not only has he used watashi, but now we have the more advanced version, here used in humble speech, watakushi. Oh my god, so fantastic pronoun practice in this episode. Watakushi domo. This is really interesting because domo is a way of actually putting oneself down, as we can see here in humble speech. Watakushi isn't necessarily humble by itself, it's just a more formal version of watashi. But here he's speaking humbly because he has the domo added. It's like belittling oneself. So, watakushi domo no koto mo. So also the thing about me. Kanjichou ni wa. So as for to the Secretary General. And then a very formal request here. Go naimitsu ni. So yet again, the go honorific prefix. Go naimitsu, another new piece of language, and this means privacy, secrecy. It's a bit more of a formal version of naisho, a secret, secrecy, privacy. Naimitsu ni, and then ni suru is to do, but here it's in a very formal request because it's ni shite itadakemasu ka? So te itadaku is to receive someone do something. This is the same as te morao, but just a more formal way of speaking. And then mas being polite, and then ka, a question. So also the thing about me, could I have you keep it in secret to the Secretary General?
私どものことも幹事長にはご内密にしていただけますか? ありがとうございます。本当にすみませんでした。
And as he leaves, he says, "Arigatou gozaimasu, thank you very much." And then he really strongly apologizes with "hontou ni sumimasen deshita." So hontou ni, truly, and then sumimasen is excuse me, I'm sorry, and then deshita here in the past tense. So this is more I apologize for what I just did, for example, or I apologize for what just happened, because it's the past tense form. So thank you so much. I'm really, really sorry about what happened.
ありがとうございます。本当にすみませんでした。
よかったのか、あんなやつ見逃して。
Okay, so that seems to be finished up with, and here Kiryu says, "Yokatta no ka?" So yokatta, to have been good, and then noka, the question. So is that okay? Anna yatsu, Anna like that, and then yatsu, kind of a derogatory way of talking about someone like that guy. Anna yatsu, a guy like that. Minogashite. And minogasu here is N1 piece of language to kind of let something pass, to turn a blind eye to something, to overlook. So are you sure that's okay to let a guy like that pass?
よかったのかあんなやつ見逃して。
気にしないで。そんなことより今はもっと大事なことが。
When she kind of seems a bit tired, she says, 気にしないで. So kini suru is to worry about something, to have it on your mind, but here with kini shinai de, it's the negative form, so don't worry about it, so forget about it, kini shinai de. Sonna koto yori, so sonna like that, koto a thing, and then yori more than, so more than that kind of thing. Sonna koto yori, ima wa, as for now, motto, more, and then daiji na koto ga, dun 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 dun. Now daiji is to be important, crucial. Daiji na koto, so something that is more important. Moto daiji na koto, so something that is even more important. Ga dun dun dun. So perhaps ga aru, for example, there is. So don't worry about it. More than that kind of thing, there's something much more important.
気にしないで。そんなことより今はもっと大事なことが。お願いだから早くどこかで私を休ませて。
Oh yes, and the alcohol seems to have caught up with her because she says, onegai dakara. So onegai, please, dakara is like explaining the case because, but here it's just, I beg of you, please. It's a very strong request. Please, onegai dakara. Hayaku, quickly. Dokoka, we actually saw this before with dokka. This is now the full form that's not contracted. Dokoka de is marking place of action, so somewhere, at somewhere. Watashi o, so doing to me. Yasumasete, so yasumu is to rest, but here it's to make or to let someone rest, because it's in the causative form, so yasumaseru. But here in the te form, requesting. So please, I beg of you quickly, please let me rest somewhere.
お願いだから早くどこかで私を休ませて。
おい、車どうなってる？いつまでかかってんだ？
And so the driver's still not here, and so Kiryu says, Oi, hey, kuruma, do natteru. So kuruma, the car, do natteru. What's going on? What's happened with it? So hey, what's up with the car? Itsumade. Itsu is when, made up until. So up until when? How long? And then again we see kakaru to take. So itsumade kakaru is to up until when will it take? Here referring to time. But here it's in the contracted teiru form. So kakatten, the same as kakatteiru. So how long is it going to take? And then da stating. So hey, what's up with the car? How long is this going to take?
おい、車どうなってる？いつまでかかってんだ？
もうすぐあと3分
What? More sugu, very soon. Ato, again, after or more, and then sampun, 3 minutes. So I'll be there very soon, in 3 minutes.
もうすぐあと3分
さっきも3分って言ってたじゃねえか。
Yeah, exactly. So Kiryu says, Saki mo. So saki, just a short time ago, mo also. So even just now, sampun, 3 minutes. Te iteta. So te is quoting what you iteta said. And then janeka, isn't it? So isn't it that you said just before that you'll be 3 minutes?
さっきも3分って言ってたじゃねえか。
気持ち悪い。
What an interesting way to finish this episode. We finish off with kimochi warui. So this is a very useful word here. Kimochi is one's feelings, and then warui is bad. Put it together and it means you feel bad. And as we've seen this entire episode, she's been struggling with drinking a bit too much alcohol, and this is what will happen if you drink too much alcohol. You will kimochi warui. You'll feel bad. And this here is really referring to the physical feeling. Kimochi warui, I feel unwell. But it can also be, for example, to be uncomfortable. As we can see in definition number 3, to be uncomfortable, to be annoying, frustrating. So that's a funny way to end the episode. We have a very kimochi warui ending to today's episode. Hopefully you haven't drunken too much alcohol recently. But if you have, just like her, you can say kimochi warui. I feel sick. So that's going to be it for today's episode. I hope you enjoyed checking out Yakuza 7 Gaiden, or Like a Dragon Gaiden, for the PlayStation, PC, and Xbox box in Japanese. So this is definitely a tricky game to use for Japanese language learners for sure. I definitely wouldn't put this one up in the recommended games just because of the fact that the game itself is so difficult to use for a language learner. The text is very unreliable in cutscenes, whether you can actually take at your own pace. The story in the game, the dialogue is fine, that's kind of pushed to continue when you're talking to NPCs, but it's not voiced, so it kind of makes it a bit difficult to use. It's not that interesting. A really good thing is the cutscenes are replayable, but not all of the cutscenes, just the main story cutscenes, and those ones you can pause and read the text, so that's good. But I do think these games are incredible for kind of real-world Japan vibes, language. As you saw, there's not too many games that can really expose you to this much honorific speech, but in this episode we've seen so much honorific speech used, and this is only covering a very small part of the game. The Yakuza series really excel in showcasing kind of more real-life Japanese. There is also a lot of Japanese you're not necessarily going to need in real life, like the Yakuza slang and stuff like that, but it's really interesting. So I really love the Yakuza series. I think it could be really good for a Japanese language learner, contextually, but unfortunately the accessibility is quite difficult for a language learner unless you do something like watch a YouTube video after you've played. That's something you could do, right? You could play the game yourself, and then once the cutscene's finished, you could go watch a YouTube video and go through the dialogue line by line. Or you could use something like Kamui OCR to automatically transcribe the text. And so all you have to do is just on a different window or even a different monitor, just highlight your mouse over it and you can see it with Yomitan. So you can just instantly highlight your mouse over the word and look up a dictionary definition for that word. It's not 100% accurate, but there was only one mistake in this entire episode. At the beginning of the episode, the first time it said yakara, for some reason it transcribed it for the kanji for gun, an army. That's it. It didn't do it the second time, it was just the first time. One mistake in this whole episode. So that's pretty reliable if you're gonna wanna use something like OCR. I highly recommend using Kamui OCR, particularly for a game with this font. The font is very, very readable. So thanks so much guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Hopefully you enjoyed learning Japanese with Yakuza 7 Gaiden. Thanks so much for watching. I'm gonna leave you guys with an immersion section so you can watch everything that we just covered in a kind of short movie. You can use this for a review as well as kind of reinforcement of all the language that we covered in today's video. So good luck everyone. If you like this video, make sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe, and if you really enjoy these videos, then consider coming supporting the channel either directly through the Game Gengo website or through Patreon, and you can come join the Discord, get direct help with your Japanese. Anytime you have a question, you can get help. You can hang out with both me and the community. Sometimes we do streams and play games together, and you can even vote on upcoming vocab episodes. So thanks again for watching, and as always, I'll see you all again in the next video. See you guys.
「じゃあ私はこれで。すみません。お先に失礼しますね。」
よ、見ろよ、あれ。
大丈夫か？
ええ、お待たせしてしまって。
今店を出た。車はまだか？
急な追いつけだったもんでな。お嬢様の具合は？
問題ない。そっちがすぐに来れば。
了解。あと5分くれ。
少し車を待つ。
ごめんなさい。やっぱり気分が。時間がかかりそうならタクシーを。
わかった。通りまで行ってみよう。
飲みすぎちゃったみたいで。祖父には内緒にしてくれます？
余計なことは言わない。
ねえ、大丈夫？よかったら俺らが女の子を送ってくよ。
いいんだ。間に合ってる。
うちすぐそこなんだ。タワマンの30階。おいでよ。みんなで介抱してあげっからさ。
おい、おさむくんが親切で言ってくれてんのに無視かよ。
どうも、僕がおさむくんです。
どけ。俺一人でよけりゃ後で好きなだけ付き合ってやる。
何舐めた口聞いてんだ、おっさん。
トラブル発生。車はまだか？
到着まで3分。何があった？
後で話す。少し休んでるといい。
大丈夫なんですか？
俺らはこんな時のために呼ばれてる。
どっかいいとこのお嬢様なのかな。大丈夫、うちの親もね、聞いたら絶対知ってる会社の社長。いいの、俺らに手出したらただじゃ済まないよ。
お前らも今回り右すりゃ無事に帰れる。さもなきゃこれから起きることは全部お前らの選んだ結果だ。
おさむくん、こいつやる気だよ。
まあおじさんはお仕事でやってんだろうしな。それにさ、恋ってのは障害があるほど燃えるもんだ。さあ、お嬢様にいいとこ見せちゃおうぜ。
覚悟はいいか？
よせよせよせよせ、俺の車！マジかよ。お前誰に手出したか分かってんのか？ただじゃ済まねえぞ。
案外優しいんだな。
はあ？
自分がこれからどんな目に遭うかより俺を心配してくれんのか？
いや、
ちょっと待ってください。思い出しました。あなたマルヒナの社長の息子さんですよね。
マルヒナってあの有名な商社か？
どうしてそれを？
去年祖父の誕生パーティーに来てくれましたよね。お父様と一緒に。
え、もしかしてあなた荻窪幹事長のお孫さん？
ええ。
これはとんでもないこと。申し訳ございません。
今夜は留学先の中東の友人が日本に遊びに来ていたので初めて六本木に来てみたのですが、あなたたちもよく遊びにいらっしゃるの？
いやいやいや、僕らもたまたまです。本当に何とお詫びをしてよいか。
いいえ、私もこんなに酔ってしまって。お互い今夜のことは忘れませんか？
もちろん。私は今夜何も見ていませんし、誰とも会ってません。私どものことも幹事長にはご内密にしていただけますか？
ええ。
はあ、ありがとうございます。本当にすみませんでした。
よかったのか、あんなやつ見逃して。
気にしないで。そんなことより今はもっと大事なことが。お願いだから早くどこかで私を休ませて。
おい、車どうなってる？いつまでかかってんだ？
もうすぐあと3分。
さっきも3分って言ってたじゃねえか。
気持ち悪い。